Hey, how's it going, everybody? In this video, we're going to be talking about Dark Warriors as a Wilderness Slayer assignment. As usual, I've got all the notes up here on the right, and if you want to find those, they're in the description, as well as on the Rune Wiki. So, I'm just going to get into it. The weight of the assignment is 4, so they're not super common, but it does happen, like they do get assigned. I've had the task probably 5 times, maybe less. There's only one location, and that's the Dark Warrior Fortress. And if you have spent time playing free to play, like back in the day, you probably spent a decent amount of time there. But yeah. So moving on. Can you cannon them? You can, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. There isn't really space for it, and it's really inefficient, and the only way you can cannon them is if you're doing it on the first floor or the ground floor and you're killing the high level ones, which just take forever, so I don't recommend it. You don't need a looting bag because they don't drop very much, and you'll be using up energy potions as you go along, so you'll have plenty of inventory space, as well as you probably won't need food if you have defense. If you're a pure, then you want food, but you know, we're gonna be fighting level 8s, so they don't hit very hard. In terms of emblem drop rate, the level 8s drop at 1 out of 146.5, and the level 145s drop at 1 out of 72.5. They attack with melee and super simple. They're weak to crush attacks and magic, which, you know, I actually use range, but again, they're level 8, so it doesn't really matter what you use. If you're trying to be like maximal like efficiency, then sure, you can utilize these, but I don't. I think it's better to use darts, and that way you can kind of attack them from a distance, and you'll see why that's important when we get there. In terms of armor, defense, your defense just isn't that important because, again, we're fighting such low levels. Dragon Hide is a good way to go. High range bonus is recommended, so again, Dragon Hide. And an Expeditious Bracelet is optional if you're trying to finish the task quickly. If you don't really care about spending the 5k or whatever it is for the Expeditious Bracelet, you can bring a few of them, and you can just move on with the task as quickly as possible. I probably wouldn't, just because they're easy to kill, but you know, it's definitely up to you. In terms of weapon, I recommend darts, that's why I'm holding them. Melee works as well, but it's slower, and when you're doing this task, usually you just want to get it done as fast as possible, because once again, like, it's not good experience, it's not good drops. It's really just like, if you're doing it, you're doing it because you're farming emblems or you're farming Slayer points. And you know, it's fine for that, for those reasons, but you definitely don't need to try to draw it out in any way. So in terms of inventory, you can bring some food. When you're getting up to the first floor, oftentimes the high levels will hit you. Even me at like 75 defense, they have, you know, they'll hit like 10s and stuff, so you don't want to be running around with like low HP, I guess. Also, you know, maybe you get attacked by PKer, but probably not an issue. Stamina or energy potions, like I mentioned earlier, because as you'll see, you have to run around a lot while you're chasing them down. There isn't like a good room or anything where you can just fight multiple of them. They're kind of spread out in the castle. You want a burning amulet because it'll teleport you right next to the location, save you a lot of time. And a teleport is optional, like a one-click teleport tab if you want. but I just, as always, bring a glory, so when you're done with the task you can just teleport out. It's under level 20, so level 20 wilderness that is, so you can just use whatever teleport you want. And in my personal opinion, the threat of running into PKers is a 0. Like on a 0 to 10 scale, it's just so unlikely. Maybe if you're killing them on the ground floor, someone might run by and see you and try to kill you, but if you're on that first floor, which is where I recommend going, the likelihood is just absolutely tiny that you're going to run into somebody that's going to try to kill you. So that's why I give it a 0. And something I just realized, for armor, you definitely need to remember an accumulator, because I mean, you know, that's probably obvious, but in case it's not, you're throwing ammo around during this whole task, and you, first of all, don't want to run out of ammo, and second of all, don't want to just waste money, and it's a good range bonus, so definitely a big part of being successful at this task. So I'm gonna run, well, I'm gonna teleport and then run to the task or the location and show you how to get there. So as you can see, you can teleport to the bandit camp, which is directly north of the Black Warrior Fortress, which is where we're headed. So you just cross this bridge, and then we're going to go up this ladder on the right there. And this is where you run into some higher levels that can hurt you, or I guess only one higher level, but this is really where you're going to be killing all of them. Generally, there's one warrior per room, so you're going to be running around this square over and over again, and that's why we want something that has ranged, but also something that's high DPS, such as the darts. Yeah. So my strategy is pretty much to just zoom out as much as I can, and then you're just running through all of these rooms and killing these dark warriors, and usually they'll respawn with like not horrible time. Yeah, so this guy already respawned, so you don't have to go all the way to the other side, but definitely just be aware that you're running around a lot, and that's why we have so many energy potions. If you want to AFK for a second, I guess you could, just by like doing what I just did, so you can like attack one and run into the other room. But if you're using the dart strategy and you're like decent range, you're probably just gonna kill them pretty fast. So if you really want to speed things up, you can just keep running through, like just keep running through all the doors, but there's a timer, and eventually the doors are gonna close, so it becomes a little bit inefficient, because you have to keep opening doors and stuff, whereas like if you just stay on one side, you just keep opening the same doors, you can do whatever you want. But that, like I said, that's my strategy. I really kind of dislike this task, other than for the reason that you can get Slayer points and form mysterious emblems, but overall not the greatest task, but sometimes you just got to do these. So that's pretty much the guide. You just keep doing this strategy. If you wanted to cannon, which again I highly recommend you do not, but if you wanted to, I brought my cannon at one point just to see if I could, and you would just set it up yeah, see these, so there's a ton of them here, but they just hit really hard. But I tried to set up my cannon here. You can set it up there, it just does not work well. And I guess if you wanted to just do a purely like AFK strategy, you could bring like good melee armor and just round them up like I just did there. But obviously these guys hit pretty hard, and they're not as easy and much slower to kill them than the other guys. So I definitely recommend the first strategy I showed you. So that does it. You just teleport back and you're good to go. So that's the guide. Hopefully you learned something and have a good understanding of how to kill Dark Warriors. If the guide helped you, please give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.